Hi guys, how's it going? So I'm Ashley Foltz of the blog thestyleeditrix.com, and everyone's going to introduce themselves and tell you their blog name too. You want to start, Alexander?
Sure, I'm Alexander Liang, and I'm from kentonmagazine.com and alexanderliang.com.
Hi, I'm Leanne Barlow, and I blog at ellapparelblog.com.
Hi, my name is Nakia Phoenix, and my blog is called Model Liberation.
Hi, I'm Ellie Eckert, and I'm from City Brood.
Awesome. So we're just going to kind of have a little conversation about Fashion Week and each of our experiences. And I'm just going to start out by asking you guys about your blog, when you started and why you started. Whoever wants to chime in, start first. Feel free.
Okay, I guess I'll start first. So my blog, Model Liberation, I started maybe about 6 or 7 years ago. I literally started it as a way to vent my frustration with the fashion industry and modeling. You go to castings and they say, you're too this, you're too that. And it kind of didn't make sense to me, but I didn't know how to voice that. So I started writing about it, and then other people started chiming in with, oh yeah, I've noticed that, yeah, I've experienced the same things. And then other people who aren't models kind of had similar situations happen to them, or they've seen it happen with other models, and so, just created a community.
I love that. That's cool. Anyone else?
I started about 5 years ago when my first son was born. My husband was in school at the time, so we were on a student budget, and I decided to try my hand at making my own clothes. I would look at clothing that I loved, but we were on a budget that I couldn't afford to get at that time, so I taught myself. I'd taken a couple sewing classes, but I learned how to construct patterns and design my own clothing. And I started posting about it on my blog, and people reacted really well to that. And then Pinterest happened, and people would pin it, and I would get this traffic. I had, what's Pinterest? What is this? And it kind of grew from there. I now have a clothing line that I designed and manufacture, as well as my blog.
Oh, that's so different and unique. I feel like you have a completely different perspective from many of the bloggers with your own line. That's awesome. Alexander?
Sure. So in 2010, I started kentonmagazine.com, and it was sort of, the beginning of, more so the beginning times of online magazines. And I had a background in editorial and in print, and I was doing the whole print magazine thing, and I noticed that, online was a market. So I decided to go out on my own and take the risk and start online. And it was basically kind of a simple blog, which we've slowly transformed over the past 4 years into an online magazine. And after sharing a few things that, some more of my personal anecdotes and things that I would be wearing on social media and stuff, I decided to start a personal style blog as well, to create a home for that and share more and connect on a personal level with all of the readers.
Interesting. And Ellie, you, last but not least.
Yes. I started my blog in 2011, actually, after I moved from Florida, and I deemed it quite possibly the coldest winter in the history of mankind. Looking back, it was actually very mild, but I was going to all these coffee shops and seeing how style was changing from neighborhood to neighborhood, and I kind of wanted a place where I could document that, and that's how City Brood started.
Cool. And since we are here talking about New York Fashion Week, how do you guys plan for New York Fashion Week? Do you want to, I guess, just take us through a little bit of the process? Because for a lot of people that aren't going to the shows, are you reaching out to publicists? Are you working with your relationships with brands? Just the whole sort of process. And a lot of us have traveled here, except Ellie, to come to New York Fashion Week. So just talk a little bit about that, maybe.
Sure. Well, I think the beginning of it, begins kind of, well, we work with a lot of brands and designers throughout the year, and of course, a lot of them are having shows this week here in New York, and it's important to show your support and go to the shows. So we're doing a lot of coordination with publicists and designers, can be weeks, months in advance. Kind of, I guess, when you decide that you want to go to New York Fashion Week, the first thing you do, for us anyway, I'm coming from Toronto, so you're booking your flight, booking your hotel, figuring out, all of the logistics of traveling here, and then, then you work out the shows you're going to go to, figure out your calendar, and then, of course, you have to plan all your outfits, and then make sure it's in your weight limit of your suitcase, so.
That's
you
the
don't.
most important
and
part.
You don't.
You're stuck carrying a very heavy bag.
You want to
Yeah, well, that my main focus was the outfits, the looks that I'm gonna do, and I research the trends and know what's going on and what's popular then. As far as the outfits, I pick kind of one piece that I'm drawn to, and then plan it around there. Like I made my skirt, and I found the fabric first. That's what I was drawn to, and decided the silhouette of it and things like that. And then I picked all the accessories and things like that.
And just to spin off on that really quick, and I'll give you guys a chance to answer. Speaking of your outfits and taking photos of them while you're here, do you travel with a photographer? Do you hire someone when you're here? I'm sure everyone wonders, how do you figure that out, you know?
Today I had a hired photographer, so we shot 4 different looks around Lincoln Center and kind of just got them all out in a couple hours. So,
Ladies, do you want to answer about how you plan for Fashion Week?
My planning for Fashion Week literally happens 3 weeks before Fashion Week, and it's all like, oh my God, what's happening, what's happening? I'm waiting on emails from PR contacts about shows, and then I'm online and talking to my friend Tay Hansberry, who's also a StyleList contributor, and we're like, girl, have you booked your flight yet? I don't know, have you booked yours? So we're like back and forth, did you get this, did you get that? And literally it comes together the day that I arrive. So, along with the outfits too, it's like you're literally planning for months. Like, what am I going to wear? Oh yeah, I think I want to buy this, but if I buy this now, I'm not going to be able to wear it now. Can I really wait? Can I really wait that long to wear this fabric? No, I can't wait this long. So then, a week before, you're like, oh crap, what am I wearing?
Yeah.
I'm kind of the opposite, actually. I go the week of to pull clothing from different designers and people that I've worked with throughout the year. But when it comes to the day of shows and everything, I'm kind of changing everything last minute. Like, it's never planned really bad. I'm always forgetting business cards or like my phone battery or camera battery. I do have my business cards though, so at least that's off the checklist. But yeah, it feels really last minute for me, but there's a lot of pulls, there's a lot of meetings beforehand with designers, and planning and scheduling is probably my biggest.
Yeah, it's like you literally need a personal assistant in order to, and a clone or 2 or 3 clones to be able to get everything together properly so that you're not feeling rushed when you arrive.
I totally agree. Alexander, I know you have covered Fashion Week for so many years now. Can you just describe how the environment has changed since bloggers really came onto the scene and started attending New York Fashion Week?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I think at the beginning of the whole blogging wave, we were actually very uninvited, I guess you could say. Definitely, everything was still very, very much the old world of print, newspapers, magazines, and a lot of international print media as well were, they were kind of the priority. No one really understood the value of bloggers. No one understood the value of the internet. And then that slowly started to change kind of closer to the 2010 time. And now I think it's predominantly bloggers kind of there, and they're starting to take the front row away from everyone else, which is really great, I think, for the industry.
It's incredible, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, yeah, of course, even just the sheer fact that we're using systems like Fashion GPS to do our check-ins and everything is gone. It's all gone online. So yeah, natural progression.
And ladies, I know you guys all have different timelines as far as when you started attending Fashion Week, and what's been your experience so far with how welcomed you are, how many shows you're getting into? What do you think?
I feel like for me personally, the number of shows that I go to increases every season. They notice that we're the ones who get the word out about what's hot, what's on trend. So the designers want us there, and it's instant. We tweet a picture, we Instagram a picture, and then everybody's immediately like, I want that, I want that, I want that, and they can't wait until it comes out. So I really feel like we're the trendsetters. We're the ones who make it hot. So designers see that, and they want us there.
I love that.
And going off of that, it's also made it so much more intimate, I think. I think you have even if you're not there, you feel like you're there because there are bloggers, posting videos or posting pictures inside the show from a different perspective. It's not just that traditional style.com shot, you're getting a lot more, and you kind of feel like you're there. And I think that's what is so great about having bloggers, especially in the front row.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I like to develop a relationship with my readers and kind of let them know. I kind of think of it like, pretend like they're my friend here with me at Fashion Week. So a lot of it is I just want to make them feel like they're part of it. So like they were saying, whether it's the food that you eat or the celebrity that walked past you or things like that, give little bits and pieces of fashion show, not just the runways that you can view online. And I also love that you can follow whatever blogger or stylist, follow them on Instagram and see their own backstage sneak peeks too. I think it's great.
While it's happening, yeah. It feels so fresh and just really organic. So speaking of bloggers and social media and Instagram and everything else, how do you think that's changed Fashion Week? I guess we already spoke in terms of it's bringing everything to the right now, but have you seen any change in as far as like sales, as far as like interest in Fashion Week? I feel like that's really grown. What's your take on that?
One thing I see is kind of taking along what we've been saying. You can see the runway shows, and I think bloggers are really good at taking what they see and applying it to everyday wear, and so they can post those looks, and then the readers see their take on it, and then they can buy similar pieces and things like that.
Definitely. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Reward Style, but they just did a thing this morning. Did you guys see they partnered with BCBG?
Yeah, it was really
so you could buy straight off the runway based on the Instagrams. That's, I feel like, so cool and what we would all want for our readers to have direct access.
It was definitely innovative. I mean, when I started blogging, Instagram wasn't even in existence, so it was all through Twitter. And now to have something like to know it, where you can double tap a photo and all of a sudden right to your inbox is a pre-order of the look that you liked. I think that's incredible, and we're only getting more and more innovative and more creative with the use of technology and how we can actually integrate that into pushing sales for the designer, because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about.
Yeah, it definitely is. So speaking of covering Fashion Week for your blog, how do you make that accessible to your readers? So right now, most of the clothes they can't go and buy. It's not online or in stores. So do you take the trends and do it on your blog, or how do you present that to your readers on the blog so that they really feel like they can have access to it?
Well, I think they're going to have access to it because they're going to see a piece that you like, piece that you took a photo of, and you can show them something that's maybe similar in stores now that they can buy, or something that's maybe vintage that they can find. Like, I'm wearing something vintage and it's amazingly on trend for next spring. Crazy. But so you can show them how to style things, where to buy certain things, to sort of get the right look, even though it may not be exactly from that designer. It'll still be, in that same family.
Definitely.
Yeah, for me, it's more about showing a different point of view. Like when I'm going to the shows, I'm not necessarily posting the pictures of what I'm seeing, because you can find that in so many different places. So what I found works best for my readers, at least, is to go look at the beauty trends that are happening down the runway, and then collaborate with a makeup artist to show how you can get that look for that season.
I love that. That's so important. Makeup and beauty is a huge part of what we see, and the street style is another thing that we all see, and that's something that I love those pictures more than the runway photos, because it's just so much more accessible to our readers and our friends and our lifestyle.
And it's so much more real. If you see a real person wearing it, you're like, oh, wait, I can wear that too. Where if you see something on the runway on a model, you're like, wait, is that going to look right on me when I put that on? Are those stripes going to... But when you see it on a real person, it makes such a difference. That's why people are so influenced by bloggers, by what we do.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. What's your primary goal going into New York Fashion Week? Do you come with one?
Everybody gets really quiet.
My main goal is to be inspired, to gain inspiration for future looks, for future posts. I also love making connections with other fashion bloggers that I've only met through Instagram, making those personal connections, or businesses, different designers, things like that. You can actually connect in person, make that real physical connection, which goes far beyond just emailing, I feel like. And taking those relationships and working down the road on a collaboration, I think those are really, really important.
I agree with that. Anyone else? No? You're like, no goals.
Definitely to be inspired. I think for me, I love New York Fashion Week specifically because it's the start of the Fashion Week season every 6 months, and it gets you back into gear. And I always say that September, especially right now, is kind of like the back to school for us. It's a great time to see all of your friends, connect with the designers and the brands, and really get re-energized for the whole fall season and then spring. So
Definitely. Let's see. Is there one word that you would use to describe Fashion Week?
Exhausting? I mean, today alone, all of us have been bouncing around from here to there, wherever, and we're like, we're finally here. Yeah. So by the time that all of this is over and done, we're going to just like lay on the ground and not move for a few days.
And take our shoes off and have a foot massage.
Yes.
I would also say energy. There's like this undeniable energy, not only at Lincoln Center, but kind of all over the city. And it's something that, you talked about goals, that's something I kind of want to take away from it, is, absorbing all of that.
Which brands do you think have been the most open to bloggers and this new wave of social media and just the online new world that we live in?
Well, we definitely mentioned BCBG earlier. I mean, they're on it. They show so much love to bloggers, it's not even funny. Yeah.
I know Minkoff, she always has a blogger section too. Rebecca Minkoff, she's been a supporter from day one. I love her.
I know Tresemme, they'll send out bloggers and have them be part of the shows, things like that. I'm working with clothing company Terry John, and they sent me out and helping me through with dresses and things like that. I just think it's really a good relationship, and I think companies that reach out and work with bloggers is really important. I think they gain a lot of exposure that way as well.
I think what's cool right now at this time is that it's hard to single out one designer or one brand in particular doing the best job at it. I think finally, bloggers have been accepted, and the blogging phenomenon, is real right now, and people really understand the benefit of it. So the designers they're all doing something unique, and they're all doing something interesting, and I think it's more like who isn't.
That's a good point.
Was it Rebecca Minkoff who just announced those like technology bracelets as well?
Yes.
I mean, I think that is so cool. It's like, it's actually a really cute bracelet too. So it's not something where you're gonna be like, this is awesome, but I'm never gonna wear it. Yeah. It's got like a little USB thing connected to it. And I think it also connects to your smartphone so you can get notifications on your bracelet.
That's so nice.
We all need that.
Have you ever had a fashion emergency during New York Fashion Week? Any of you?
Thank God, no. But we might just jinx ourselves right now.
I know. Oh my God, scary.
Knock on wood.
I switched different shoes in my shoots today. I put on one shoes with the dress, and then I went to change, and I realized, I was supposed to wear those with the other one. I mean, it's not an emergency, but
well, the elevators in our hotel have not been working, so wearing heels, climbing 5 flights of stairs is not that fun. That's kind of a fashion emergency, right?
Yeah, that's true.
A little bit?
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always get nervous wearing white to Fashion Week. I forgot to bring my little Tide pin, I'm normally stocked with that just in case I spill something, but I try to be very, very careful.
I love that response because it just brings up a question that I think is so fitting for this. What is in your survival guide for Fashion Week? Or is there one thing that you have to bring to Fashion Week? Because I feel like we all have our thing. Like my Boost case, I'm like, my phone is dying every second of Fashion Week because I'm on Instagram and I'm on, email, everything else. So what's your thing besides your Tide pin?
Safety pins.
Okay.
Just in case for those fashion emergencies, like let's say like your zipper rips or your seam rips or something, and there we go, safety pins. Pin it right up. That's what they do on the runway. That's real.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a pair of flats kind of stuffed into my bag right now. That was definitely a good plan.
Necessary.
Band-Aids and a little mini deodorant. Just shove it in.
You and I are in the same boat. Definitely backup battery, and then chargers for
Yeah.
both phones, iPhone and Samsung. So
Yeah,
have everything covered.
I love that. I dropped a little question sheet. Okay, so what is the first thing you do after New York Fashion Week? Is there like a day of rest, or what's your sort of routine? Sleep?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely
Just nothing. Well, maybe a pedicure because nobody should walk in heels for 7 days straight.
True.
That's so true. That's so real.
I would say sleep in, but I have 2 little boys that don't let me do that. So I'm going to put on some flats and yoga pants and take them to a park and just sit.
So fitting. I think we all just want relaxation after running around the city for so long. Is there anything that I haven't really touched on that you guys want to share about your insider point of view from New York Fashion Week?
I don't know. Are we
Putting you
open
on the
for
spot.
questions yet?
Yeah, let's go to question and answer then. I'll open it up to you guys and see if you have any questions for anyone on the panel, one person or the whole group. Let me know. We're going to bring a microphone around to you.
Hi. So one of my favorite parts of New York Fashion Week is obviously seeing what's coming up next and all the fashion trends. So I'm wondering from you guys what you think is going to be big for spring and summer of next year. What are we going to see on the runway?
Well, what have we already seen? We've already seen lots of prints. I mean, everyone does beautiful florals for spring and summer. So we've seen more of that. What else?
Lots of white again.
Pastels. Yeah, pastel colors and braids, like thick. The Marissa Webb show, I was backstage, and all their braids are really thick 5-strand braids and messy off to the side. Really, really pretty.
Eyebrows are still in too. It seems. So far today anyway, all the shows had really strong, bold eyebrows, and then, like you said, pastel. There was a lot of peach.
Ethereal sort of vibes from BCBG and also Tadashi this afternoon.
Sneakers are here to stay.
God, I hope so.
I hope
I mean, Alex is wearing some fantastic sneakers.
That's why I asked.
I'm still going to be rocking this like beyond the trend, so.
For our sake, yes, we definitely hope so. Anyone else? Yeah.
Hi, I just had a question. A lot of people say that New York Fashion Week or all fashion weeks are for like a close kind of circle of people that are very involved in the world, like bloggers and designers and editorial people. And I was wondering, like, do you find that your readers respond well to it? Like, what are they most interested in hearing about? Because obviously with like street style, I feel like it's transcended off of the runway. So I was just curious what your readers are into.
For me, at least, my readers don't necessarily care to hear about, looks that are coming down the runway. It just, it's hard to want to engage in something when you're not there or whatever it may be. But what I found works best is, like I said earlier, kind of going off of that, like maybe finding some kind of beauty trend and how you can do that on your own, or how you can do that from drugstore products, whatever it may be.
Yeah, definitely just zeroing in on one thing that your readers would enjoy. Like she said, beauty trends, or maybe it's accessories, or maybe it's how to wear like flowers in your hair other than going to a festival. Just making it more real to your readers, knowing that, yeah, you can see something at New York Fashion Week and still take it home and wear it, and it'll look fabulous.
My question is 2 parts, and it's more just about your blogs in general. I wondered, when you decided to start your blog, how did you start it? Did you have people help you, even as it's just like setting up the URL and things like that? And then second, how do you guys gauge success with your blog? Is it visitors, likes to Instagram, things like that, and kind of, is that different than you would say traditional digital publications?
Sure. Well, when I began, I definitely did have some help, especially with Kenjin Magazine. It's an online magazine, so we have a lot of content going on, and actually 2 of our editors are right here. And yeah, I mean, we definitely have a whole team and kind of like family vibe happening there. But for my style blog, it's just me. And I guess, yeah, gauging success is really interesting because you never really, this is kind of this new frontier, and no one really knows the right answer. It's not like, go to university, get a job, do this, climb this ladder, and then you will end up here. It's kind of like, well, take a risk. It could work out. It might not work out at all. But, you had fun and met a lot of cool people along the way. But yeah.
When I first started, it was more like an experiment. It was just kind of a diary of different things, and I never really thought anyone other than my parents would read it. But I did a lot of Googling, a lot of trial and error, and just kind of like figuring out how to do HTML and do different things. And I still have no idea, but I'm still, Googling my way there.
I think one thing that's important about building a blog and starting from the beginning is I find that most blogs that are successful kind of started out organically. They didn't start out as, I'm going to be this blogger and I'm going to reach this many followers and work with these brands. I feel like if you find something that you're passionate about, whether it's style or design or something that new that you can bring to the table, I feel like people will be drawn to you. You have a different perspective. And once you gain that, I feel like it can grow from there. I think readers can tell if you're really being true to yourself. And I think that's really important.
I think it's really interesting, too, just to bring up the fact of how do you measure success? Is it your Instagram followers or your uniques? Because that is a big question I feel like a lot of us are facing, and a lot of the brands are expecting you to have huge social media presence. So I kind of feel like, in a certain way, Instagram or social media is almost more important than the blog these days. What do you guys think?
I think it's Instagram because I think that's what I check most often, and that's when I click over to blogs. That will get me to the blog.
Honestly, I think it really depends on your readers. Each demographic responds differently to social media. Younger demographic, we respond to Instagram and we respond a little bit to Twitter, not so much as we used to. But the older we get, I've noticed that like Facebook for an older generation, they're retired. That's what they go to, and they like start long conversations, like your mother responding to a blog post. So yeah, it just really depends on your readers and your demographic. And the way that I gauge success is the conversations that I'm able to start with people, the connections that I'm able to make with people. I don't look at my numbers. I really don't. I honestly respond better to one-on-one with somebody telling me like how they feel about a picture that I posted or something that I wrote that inspired them. That's how I gauge my success.
Yeah, I think it's about ideas and cool collaborations as well, and always trying to outdo yourself. I think that's kind of how you gauge your own success, and everyone's gauge of their own success is going to be different too.
Do we have any more questions out there? Yeah. We have a mic. There we go.
Hi. I was just wondering, on the social media front, if you have Tumblr, Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, however many more, sometimes you see brands who have kind of 19 little icons down the side of their page. For you guys, I'd love to hear from each of you if you could pick two of the top ones that are most influential directing traffic back to your blog and the ones that you really enjoy looking at yourselves. I'd love to know kind of which are the top two.
I would say Instagram and Pinterest. I notice a large amount of my audience is from Pinterest, and also I really enjoy it. I think it's like kind of a guilty obsession, but yeah.
Right now, for me, it's Instagram and Tumblr. The younger demographic, like the 18 to 25, they respond so well to Tumblr, and you can see the response, the likes, the repost, all of that. Also with Instagram, you can get those conversations started and you see the numbers.
Instagram and Pinterest for me.
And for me, it's Instagram and Twitter, so Instagram wins.
I'd say Instagram and Facebook for me, which is interesting. I keep in touch with my family and friends from across the country, so maybe that's the difference for why Facebook does well for me. I don't know. But any other questions out there? Yes. Oh, can we get a mic? Okay.
I've had a lot of this. I do not play when it comes to negative feedback. I don't want that negativity anywhere near me.
Agreed.
I will blast you. I will block you. I don't want it. I don't want it at all. And yes, everyone is entitled to their opinion, but there's a way to be cordial and be polite, but still get your point across, even if you dislike something.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I definitely get a lot as well, and it's like everybody's going to have an opinion. There's always going to be that one person that will find anything wrong. So it's just kind of like, all right, brushing it off, like, get out of there kind of deal.
Yeah, because you don't want that to flood your energy. You don't want that to mess anyone else's energy up. So yeah, you block it. You respond, even if sometimes this gets out of hand for me. But yes, I respond. I will say something to you, because if I don't say something to you and no one says anything to you, you're going to keep doing it. You're going to keep bullying people, and that's not right. That's not fair.
It is a form of bullying, I think, for sure.
I think a lot of times your readers will kind of get your back, which is nice. I don't like to. I don't want to put the spotlight on that, but a lot of times the readers will help back you up a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Like, oftentimes, some of your best readers, I guess, or most loyal followers, they'll back you up, and I try to just ignore any negative comments coming in, and I'm like, well, I'm sorry you're unhappy, but you chose to come here and you chose to look at it, so.
Head to the next blog. Anything else? Yeah. Oh, sorry. I've been having my back to you guys.
What's your favorite thing about being a blogger?
Free stuff. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to be honest.
We all thought it, right?
Yeah, I second
Ditto.
that, yeah.
I would say being your own boss and having the freedom to create your own schedule, figure out what works best for you, and work in a style that suits you best. And I think also travel is great because, again, you can control your own schedule. So I like to travel a lot, and I usually like to blog along the way and share all of my experiences with my readers. So. Yeah.
I'm also going to say connections, relationships. I've made some of the best friends in the world and they're fellow bloggers. I feel like they get it. They get what I do. We understand each other, and we have this connection that's great. So I think friendship. I'm gonna change my answer. Friendship.
I like that. Good one.
Well, when I started, I was in school for journalism, but I was writing all business and politics, and I hated it. I just wanted somewhere where I could write something that wasn't going to be edited, that was just something kind of spilling out, and I would have to say that's my favorite part. Being able to write about whatever I want to write.
I have to agree with you guys. A little bit of everyone, but I came from a sort of corporate job, which I think maybe some of you have been or are in that world. And it's definitely amazing to have your own creativity. Every day you wake up and there's something new, and it's never the same thing. And it's nice to be your own boss and have a flexible schedule. Anyone else? Oh, one more. Okay, sorry, one last question. So we have one over here, and is that it? Okay. Do you have a mic?
Okay, last question. Going off of the wearable USB bracelet, Samsung yesterday released their announcement with the wearable watch, the Android Gear, and Apple is probably soon to release something next week. This is probably the newest thing in technology, but it's something that you, as bloggers, will have such a huge impact on it. Is this something that you are all looking forward to? Are you interested in it at all? Because I feel like the bloggers will have a huge impact on this new technology space, and it's almost like a hybrid of the two. How do you all feel about that?
Why I thought Rebecca Minkoff's thing was so exciting was because it was wearable. It was something that isn't gonna clash with the outfit I'm wearing or whatever it may be. It kind of blends in with it, and that's why I thought that was so great. But I haven't heard of the other ones yet. So.
Yeah, I need more details about all of this before I can respond.
Well, I think for me, I guess in terms of watches, I like watches as an accessory, so I'm not as into having one watch that then all of a sudden I rely on for the technology. So I don't know. I think it definitely is an area that could use some more innovation, and I guess we have to really just, everyone kind of just has to test it out, not just bloggers. Like I think it's up to the consumers and just, you know, everyday people, and seeing if it actually integrates into your life and how. Like, we don't even know. Maybe it will be too distracting. It turns into something, you know.
Yeah, I think it
actually
depends on
really
the design as well. If it's well designed and it looks good with multiple outfits, things like that, that would be my draw to it.
I think you're right, Alexander, too. As far as like the everyday person, maybe it is for like the dad that's going to the office every day and wearing the same watch. Maybe it isn't a blogger thing. I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see on that one. I guess this is it, guys. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so happy we all got to tell our stories a little bit and share our New York Fashion Week experience. I hope you guys have a great New York Fashion Week. Thank you.